Hello and welcome to Fenix A320. Hopefully this is working. I don't have that Premiere thing. I know lots of people have like half an hour where they psych you up, but I just go straight to the stream, and it's more for me just a way of recording a video without having to record a video, so to speak. So currently sitting in the Fenix A320, we're fully set up, ready to go almost. Just going to align this. I love that. That must have been a nightmare to code. It's slightly chaotic, as you figure. As you can see, the ailerons are drooping. Look at that livery. That is actually stunning. The livery is stunning, but also like the withering on it. The inner modeler in me is just going, oh, amazing. Right. Time to close the doors. Weather brief. No weather available, no weather available. Skardu 25302. Calm, 7 km visibility, cloudy, view 4000, scattered 10,000. QNH 1023, temperature -1, dew point -2. A little bit cloudy. 6,000. So I'm going to actually make it into daytime for when we fly to Skardu. And you can see the terrain being an issue there. We're starting at OPIS and we're going to OPSD, and you can see we're going up by about 6,000 feet to an altitude of 7,000 feet or so at Skardu. I'm going to close the doors now and start the APU, get ready for pushback. Beacon light going on, APU start. We're going to chill the passengers on the way, as they're going to have to get used to that -2 temperature when they arrive, so we might as well make it freezing on the flight. I've set 7,000 into our thing. We're just going to use Navigraph now to get the departure routes and such like, so let's have a look at that. Yep, that's Navigraph Charts. There we go. I'm going to just make it a little bit bigger for you. At the top right corner of the screen there. So for me it's wherever it is, but for the rest of the viewers it's top right. So here we are. We're just going to unload this flight, import flight from SimBrief on the flight tab here. This is the one, import and open. So there we go, we've got our routing, and we're going to come to Delta. And from Delta basically we go along the valley here. Yep. So it's a relatively hectic arrival. As you can see, there's no arrivals available, no approaches available for Skardu. It's purely visual approaches only. So I'll probably be landing runway 14, coming in via this valley here. So the altitude there is 7,000 feet, so we'll make a kind of visual approach at that point. As long as we're in sight of the airfield, we will have a good visual reference for judging the altitude, but we might not. As you can see, minimum safe around here is 28,600 feet, and it's 30,600 feet over here. So you can tell we're definitely in the Himalayas at this point, as you can see from the entire map there. I actually think that's one of the highest ones I've ever seen in the world, 30,000 feet needed. I think that's K2. K2 must be in that region. If we then go along, you can see we've got Nepal here. We start to see similar ones, 28, 28, 31. So that's 31, yeah, Ahali and Kimti. Kimti then leads us to a lovely little airport, which I'm sure everyone is familiar with. Paplu, no, it's not, it's Lukla, yeah. So Kimti, and then we fly straight ahead, and we actually have an initial approach fix, which is like 25 miles from Kimti, and then we turn into Lukla. So yeah, Lukla's got 31. So we're in a similar region to Lukla, really, with a minimum safe of 36 just to the west, and just the east even. So high altitude operations. Let's select a departure from Islamabad. So we're going to take 28 right. Let's see where we are. Is 28 right the better option? Yeah, so 28 right is closer to us. So I'll take 28 right, thank you. Add that to the route. And we're going to select the correct departure. So if I've got Boba or Big Boba, I'm going to take Little Boba. I don't want to do a huge loop, so we're going to take Boba 1 Papa. As you can see here now, we've got the airport information and the Boba 1 Papa is automatically synchronized, so the synchronization is basically fly there direct to the airport VOR and then back to Islamabad and then out to Borbam. Charts for... There are no charts. There are no arrivals. There's absolutely nothing. Grand. Weather. Come on, at least give me a meta. There we go. There we go. So that's VISR. That's not even in the country. It's 50 miles away. Which could be completely wrong because we're in the mountains. So I'm not going to take that with any particular notion. So basically we've got a minimum point where we're basically going to make a go around regardless, and that's going to be as we enter the final valley after our initial waypoint. So I'm going to just close off Navigraph now, and we're probably ready for pushback. So there's availability of the APU, turn off the external power. We're going to turn the landing lights to off and the strobes to auto at this point. Connect tug GPU off. There's a jetway connecting, disconnecting even. Should we fly it on VATSIM? Yeah, let's fly it on VATSIM. Start new flight, plan a flight, add a flight plan, checking sim brief, importing. This is all in Volanta now, which you might be aware of. Volanta is a brilliant software for recording your flights, keeping a good log of everything, and yeah. So we are PIA22 Golf, we're an A320. Connect, flight plan, fetch from server, and file. I've already flied that online. We're going to do .com 1122.8. And I'm going to use a little bit of... No, stay attached, please. Come back! Well, the tug's just run away. Oh well. Oh, there it is, it's back now. Let's start the engines. Gonna do auto start. I do know how to do the manual start procedure, but it's just a bit of effort, so I'm not going to. Nav 2 lights need to be on. Probably should have the wing lights on because we're departing in the dark. Okay, 228's around that end of the runway, so we're going to do a right swing and go taxiing down there. Again, Navigraph will prove very useful. So I'll show you my Navigraph now. So you can see we're just pushing back, and I'm going to push us back to the left. So that we're in line with this taxiway on the right. And that's basically going to get us out that way and then down here, along to the ender to it right. Engine 2, start up. We're looking for 22% N1, fuel flow should start, or pressure should be rising constantly throughout the procedure. We're at 1, 2, 3, fuel flow. Gone a bit far. Stop. Do wish I needed to get GSX or something, but it's too buggy still apparently. Yeah, we need to initialise the weights. OPIS departure was 28 right by the Borbam. Now we quickly go into Navigraph and have a look. I've selected 1 Papa departure. Insert, there we go. Weight in it. I'm going to go over to my mass and balance page. It's these two numbers here, 57.5, 30.0. Wind data is uplinked, active AOC, blah blah blah. Okay, OPSD arrival is probably going to be 14. Via, no via, insert, there we go. Full visual. Right, runway turn off lights on. Nose lights to taxi. Landing lights not on yet, beacon and everything else is okay. We can turn off that and APU can go off now that we've done the start. That can go back to start, this can go to transmit. Sort out the weather radar, so with PWS, predictive wind shears on, ground control on, and system 2 for today, just because. Well, company message over here, just going to advance throttles and start taxiing really. Received messages, load sheets, accept, return. Performance, yeah, we need to do a performance calculation here. And I'm going to just quickly change my profile because I was flying Spitfires earlier. Apply and save, escape back out. I'm going 28 right, sync 5, calculate. I'm going to get some inserted traffic just because I think it would be a bit nice on takeoff to have it. So coming down to the injector for FSLTL, start the injector. We go right here. You can see the runway ahead markings with the red light, so we're going to turn left before then. Just trying to get FSLTL starting properly. Left here now. Oh, look at the moon. Moonrise. Yeah, it's still early evening here. It's like kind of 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. I think. Yeah, 7:30 PM. It's not nearly late enough. Yes, we need to do our departure data quickly. What are you doing, FSLTL? Are you working? No, don't change any settings. Start the injection. Thank you. Right, over here we got 135, 135, 138. Just looking at that yellow line in the corporate vision. 20 and 65. Okay. Ready for departure. Flaps to take off. We're using flaps 2 today. We'll check tier config once flaps confirmed down and green. Check left side's clear, right side's clear. Takeoff config normal. Landing lights on. Strobes on and taxi lights, takeoff light, nose lights to take off. Where are we going? At no point did I say to use the tiller fully to the left. Just a little bit of ground taxiing now. No worries. Perfectly normal. You can see here Mars. Speed images. Pleiades, Costa. Mars over there. Now we're going to line up properly. Okay, line up check. Landing lights on, packs off. And lights to dim. %, M1. Check engine. Okay, engine seems okay. Flex SRS nav and runway. going to put our cruising altitude at 29,000 feet today. It's a necessary altitude. Okay, now we can go to climb. Packs go back on. And the speed starts to climb. Just looking out the left window, I saw a flash there. Crossing, he is left to right, as we can see the green, so we can see the right hand wing. Yeah, 1800 above there, got him on TCAS and identified visually. Okay, we're above our flap speed, we're going to do flaps 1. And above F speed, we can do flaps up. Just adjusting our path here based on our speed. So we are in the right left turn now. I'm going to bring flaps up. That's going to allow our speed to go over to 250 knots, below 10,000. Still crossing left to right. Strobing like a crazy person. Okay, climbing up now. When we get to a reasonable altitude, I will turn off seatbelt signs and the landing lights can also go off. Just so we get above the city, above 10,000 feet. There you go, there's Islamabad, polluting the light, you can see that there. We've got the airport below, and the moon above. There's a bit of a haze layer below, there's an aircraft there actually getting ready to taxi out. I hope they're not suddenly deciding to do runway 10 operations when I just take off runway 2A. 8,500 feet climbing. Looking out the window, we got anything on the left hand side there? Doesn't look like it. There's that TCAS guy gone. I'm going to go to the nav. Yes, you might not see him except for forwards range. (9.7), landing lights off, seatbelt signs off. As we accelerate, we'll pitch down and have a nicer attitude. So there you go. We'll start the cruise phase now, and I'm going to basically kind of leave it here and sort some food out. So enjoy! Okay, just a little bit of an update. Just had a look at a Airbus procedure for Skardu operations, so I've got a document now that I can basically use. There's actually specific routing recommended, but we've slightly adapted that, so we're doing Bolbam to... we got Gilgit actually, let's have a look, flight plan. Bolbam, Kaglo, okay, that is correct. And then Cap Me, that's also fine. Delda should then be next. Cap Me, Bungi, Delda, correct, okay. And then Delda actually has an altitude constraint, so there's a few descent points here. So Delda, then we go direct to Bireb. So I'm going to put that in there now. This is our arrival routing basically. It's not an RNAV approach, it's just a visual guidance. Bireb, and then CF runway 14. Okay, that's going to be inserted now. Bireb is to be at 21,500, I believe. Maybe a bit lower if we're doing a direct approach. That's also going to be visible. There's the VFR routing. Nanga Parbat is going to be nearby. Unrestricted descent would be good. 4 main tasks: APU. Well, descending towards delta below 25,000, so we're going to do 250 or lower, that's fine. Seatbelts is off, that's good. Start the APU if ground support at Skardu is not available. We're going to have that available because we're Phoenix. If unsuccessful, try again. So basically, if you can't start the APU below 25,000 feet, if ground power is not available, go divert. Typically carry out the 10,000 feet checks at Delta to reduce workload in upcoming critical descent phase. Carrying out the 10,000 feet checks at 15,000 feet might not hurt as much as delaying the checks to be done exactly at 10,000 and creating a distraction from the main task. While approaching Delta, reduce speed in order to be not more than 250 knots at Delta. So we're going to put in a speed restriction at Delta here to 50. Insert. And we're going to do Bireb at less than that. That's going to be 190 or so. Destination data, then we're going to put in our METAR, so I'm going to go in here and see if I can find a METAR. No METAR available, lovely. A little bit of Google then. OPSD METAR. Updated today, hasn't published a METAR. Nice. Very nice. metataf.com. Sorry, we don't have enough data to make this report. Fantastic. Yeah, there's no metadata, so we're going to be going blind, more or less. Delta below 25,000, descent after Delta, even with 250, we need the high glide slope. It will, of course, vary TS, and but typically we see around 330 to 345 knots. Winds from the north, keep your glide slope under control, or ground speed. Same winds out of tailwind. critical phases after Delta. From this point onwards, you're on descent into high terrain. To clear out Birat terrain around you, especially if you want to make 180 degrees for diversion or for sidestepping into Shikar Valley due to weather or conflicting traffic. From Delta to Bireb, you'll be on the Indus Valley on east-southeast heading towards Skardu. On your left, you'll have Haramosh Peak. Right will lead you to Bungi from where you came. Highest peaks on a direct track are 14,777 and 14,173, 18 miles and 11 miles respectively. This direct leg can be flown in nav mode at flight level 195 from Delta to Bireb. Flight level 215 is optimal. Basically, Bireb is our final approach fix. However, as a routine VFR flight in VMC conditions, you can fly the valley in heading mode at a lower than recommended level, instead of flying a direct track from Delta to Bireb in the nav mode. Depending on your height at Delta, you can manage descent accordingly. In this case, the minimum recommended level is flight level 175 between Delta and Bireb. Continuing further, you'll be abeam the point of Huramal Valley on your left. The mountain range that separates Huramal from the Indus Valley starts off with peaks around 17,000. Huramal meets the Indus Valley at Bireb. Okay. So I'll see that. At Bireb, you turn southeast to approach Skardu. Bireb is also the point where you're abeam the starting point of the Shikar Valley on your left northeast. Shikar Valley runs southeast to Shikar parallel to Indus. Both valleys meet together at the end at Skardu. So if we do have to go around, we'll be going around into the Shikar Valley, following the terrain. So there'll be a large ridge on the right hand side. Just picking up some turbulence there. So if you look, we've got Nanga Parbat is actually this mountain on the right hand side that you can just about see. Well, you can't just about see, it's very obvious. That's the biggest mountain in the area. If you anticipate or plan to sidestep into Shikar Valley, do not descend below flight level 215 after Delta. Change valleys after Bireb, and then continue your descent. Shikar Valley is wider and straighter, which is narrower. The Indus Valley has an S-shaped bend in it, commonly known as a Zulu bend. However, there are no waypoints in the navigation database can be used for navigating the Shikar Valley. Errors in creating your own waypoints in flight can have serious repercussions and is not recommended. There is no room for errors in these valleys. So, Skardu can be approached from Shikar or Indus Valley. Shikar is straight and wide, involving no special procedures except getting into this valley from the Indus Valley at a higher level due to high terrain separating the two valleys. If you're approaching from Indus, then activate approach phase and complete your approach checklist latest by Bireb, except setting QNH if you're maintaining a level until Bireb. Reason for doing this is Skardu QNH, which is generally seen to be always higher than QNE. In a level flight, setting QNH higher than QNE makes your true altitude lower than indicated, which reduces terrain clearance. Transitioning to QNH can be done once descent is initiated or in case of level height, when you reach the point where terrain is no longer a threat, which is about 7 miles short of runway 14. At this point onwards, there is no terrain below you. This waypoint is now called Kilo. Okay, got you. Approach valley is not clear of clouds at all the time. Often there's a stratus layer overhead Skardu. In case you are maintaining a higher level up until Bireb with Skardu airfield in sight, your preference should be to get below the layer as soon as possible and to avoid getting stuck above it and losing sight of the airfield. Normally, in perfect VMEC conditions, you may start reducing your speed to be at the approach speed by position Bireb. The main purpose for speed reduction is to reduce the radius of turn due to terrain. Blah 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 blah. By position Bireb, you'll also be in VHF range, so you can contact Tower 118075 for further clearance. The strength strategy after Bireb depends on your height over Bireb. Normally we will probably try and aim for Bireb at flight level 215, assuming you have to pass through Traffic. Normal routing is from Bireb, but if you turn 4 miles short, you have more terrain clearance. Proceeding directly to final fix. Okay, interesting. Okay, there's a high approach where we maintain altitude and we do a circle to land, or we can try and fly direct to runway 14. I'm actually going to say let's do the direct to runway 14, as it's what I've seen on the YouTube video. The circle to land procedure basically keeps us very high until we're overhead Sierra Delta, which is just south of the field. But as you can see now, we've actually got the Indus Valley underneath us. This is the Indus Valley. So I'll turn it to daytime actually, because I believe there are no lights at Skardu. And there we go, 3 PM. It'll probably be snowy. Okay, there's no metadata known. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be an exciting visual approach, that's for sure. Let's put terrain on. We probably want to be fully geared down and everything by Birib. You know, I've planned out descent basically so that when we get to Birib, we're probably going to have a reasonable amount. But I'm going to actually do flight plan, see how much distance there is between Birib. So Birib is 10 miles from CF. So you probably want to be at Birib about 4,000 above the airport level, so let's say that's going to be 110. Yeah, 105. Insert. Seems reasonable. Start a descent to flight level 105. Managed for still. So looks like we'll be coming over this and then turning right. Looking through the window basically. More drag, okay. I'll do seatbelt signs on already. And we'll let the aircraft fly this descent for now, and I'll come back in a second. Okay, there's our warning, speed brakes still out. So I'll bring those speed brakes in, but we actually want to be 250 at Delta, so I'm not going to do anything just yet. We're going to start a right turn now towards Birib, which is over there somewhere. So we're actually going to do that. And I'm going to fly this visually in the mountains. It just seems the more sensible thing to do. Terrain's on, there we go, just starting to get some of the terrain appearing now. So, activate approach phase confirm. I don't actually know the QNH, is it important? Not if we're visual. But it is important because of separation reasons. But we're now flying basically towards Birib. So we're going to follow this valley here until we get to that waypoint, essentially. It needs to be about 1800 feet per minute, it did say that. Landing lights going on, runway turn-off lights and taxi lights on. Let's try the APU. So I think Birib is going to be over there. There's our runway. So you can see the valleys are starting to form. So we're currently coming up the Indus Valley now. This is this valley here. And on the left hand side is our other valley. So actually it's on actually maybe give you that VFR chart to look at. Let's see if I can make that relatively small. There you go. So below us there, the river that you can see in the Navigraph window, that is the Indus River. Very famous, very important river. There's flaps 1. Ground speed still 283, nearly 300 knots. That's just due to altitude. So we're coming down the Indus River, and we're going to head towards Birib. At Birib, we're basically going to make this is a Zulu bend here, and we're going to do a left right turn, and then by Kumra we should be on final approach. So at this point it's basically a visual approach now, so flight director's going off. I'm going to use common sense really. We've got 25 miles to go and I'm currently 7,000 above the airfield elevation, which is about right. So I'm going to try and aim for about a 3-degree glide path from this point to that end. I'm going to actually use the... No, take the wind there. No, take the wind there. Okay, we're 15 miles to go, 4,000 above. Happy with that. Fully established. Skardu traffic, Pakistan International, 22 Golf on final approach runway 14 at Zulu Bend. In case anybody's flying to Skardu, but I really doubt that they are. Let's take the right hand side of the valley then. Looking left, I can see the valley ahead is clear, so that's going to be our landing airport. Actually, that hill there is roughly abeam the airfield, so I'm looking like I'm on a decent descent profile so far. There's our 10,500 feet, we're going to descend through that now. I'm going to make the left turn now, 30 degrees of bank almost. No, actually we don't quite need 30, we can do it with less. There's our Airbus on the mountains. Okay, there's Gopru Kumra, I think it's called. Let's turn off the... There you go, we'll just stay visual now, so you don't need to see Navigraph anymore. There we are, gears down, 3 greens, auto brake medium, flaps full, landing memo no blue. (10,000 feet) and we are 10 miles from the airfield, 3,000 to go. Okay, the airfield's in this valley here, so I need to just find the damn thing. I think it's just around the corner there. So let's keep descending. Okay, there's a runway. As far as I'm concerned, that is a runway. I think we're on a reasonable profile. Just going off the visuals. Okay, which runway are we landing on? Okay, the right hand side is a taxiway, so we're going to be landing on the left hand side, which is the runway. This is the village of Kumra, so if we had done the circling, we would have been overhead there at about 15,000. We would have come around this hill here, entered a left downwind, and then over this village here we would have made a final turn. But I'm quite happy with where we are now. Still doesn't really know what to give us for an altitude. 2,500 for the visual and on final. So I'm just going to have a quick check of Navigraph just to make sure that I'm looking at the correct runway. 1432 is the left hand side, so we're aiming for that one anyway. I'm going to say 700 feet per minute now. Wind we've got slightly from the right hand side. And it's actually wind calm in the valley now. So we're a smidgen high. Lake's frozen over below us. Absolutely spectacular scenery around here. As you can see, we've flown through some very steep mountains. I mean, look at the size of our Airbus compared to what we've just flown through. So we're on a nice long final now. So yeah, it's the initial approach is the worst part, and then once we're actually in this valley, it's quite okay. As you can see, the valley ahead of us to the left would have been the Shigar Valley. That would have been the more open approach, and that would have made us... we could have come up here and done a circling procedure, and that would have been more open and less terrainy, but no me. I like my terrain, and I like it to be a bit crazy. 800 feet per minute now, just in the descent. Just going to hold that, really. So we're actually a little bit too high. Just trying to get my visual picture right. There's no pappy that I can see. So we're just going off the picture of the runway, really. 1,000 above at 3 miles, that's about right. I'm just going to descend a little bit faster, 1,000 above at...
1,000.
Yeah, we need to be down a bit lower than that. Not too much lower, so just pulling back up slightly. See, this descent profile here is giving us a roughly good accurate estimate. 2.5 miles, 700 feet, that's okay. We're on a slightly higher than 3 degree glide path though. So I'm just looking ahead now. I can see the runway touchdown marker and the threshold. The sun's actually going behind the mountain as we speak. 500 feet at 2 miles. Keep it coming down.
$100. 50, 40, 30, 20, retard. 5, retard.
Idle reverse. Seems to be fine. It's the longest runway in Pakistan at 4,000 meters, so it has to be 4,000 meters though because it's so high. So it's 7360. Okie dokie. Now where's the terminal? Yes, the sun was setting behind that mountain, which is why we saw that shadow shift away from us as we were flying still. Ground charts, Navigraph, give us something. Navigraph doesn't say anything. So that's exciting. Also, it was only recently reopened in 2022, I think, actually, so even this year it was the first international flight again. So we need to find an apron, so I'm going to just turn off live over for now so we've got a view of the ground. There we go, and maybe a quick little drone footage. Look at it. Stunning. Make the drone a bit faster. That looks like an apron. We'll stand this end then. That doesn't look very aprony. Does that look aprony? No, that doesn't look very aprony either. So we vacate right here and we'll go over to that apron there. That looks like the way. Landing rate then, probably a little bit sneaky fast, 235 feet per minute, 1.02 G, and the track actually quite nicely followed the valley. I think this will be one of my well, favourite approaches actually. Look at it, just look at the place. It's like another planet. It's insane. That's insane, Jeremy. Fornan. Can't even see out the windows for the mountains. There's absolutely a loss of horizon when you fly in mountains like this, but it's, you know, what I do in Innsbruck, which is nice. Just makes Innsbruck look like a little, like, you know, it's hills. Here's little hills. This is mountains. This is proper. This is mad. Okay, we'll just taxi in. There we go. We've got some people waiting for us over there. APU's available. Strobes can go off, that's for sure. Turn off all the systems now, they can go back on. We'll take the first gate since they're waiting for us. Okay, stop. Parking brake. Engines 1 and 2 off. Let's put the snow back on. And the real time, maybe not the real time. There you go. You can see why I turned the snow off, because this is not very well cleared. Oh, there's the air traffic control tower over there. Okay, so basically we come out to this ramp, it seems. And then we go over to the air traffic control. Is this the real runway? No, that's not the real runway. That's a disused runway, but that is the old terminal by the looks of it. Skardu International Airport. We just landed on the bigger, newer runway. Yeah, there is space for 3 737s, that is what it says, and there is about 3.5 parking spaces there, so that's fair enough, really. So I'm guessing there'd be a little road that would take us from the, what are these little watchtowers for? Yeah, there you go. Welcome to Skardu. Fantastic approach. Navigraph Charts, still useful actually. The VFR terrain visualization was actually very good. You could kind of see more clearly where things would have to be. So if I just pop that up now quickly, there we go. So you can see that we kind of we came in at Delta, and then we followed more or less a straight line to Bireb, except I descended into the valley and then got to Bireb at a reasonable altitude and then used distances, and guesstimations I should be about 300 feet at this point here, blah blah blah. And then once we got into Kachura, Kumra, came in over the lake and landed on the runway. I'm very happy with that. So there we go. Let's go back to the ground crew and see what they managed to do. There you go, it's daytime again. Oh look, we've got ground power available. Yeah, you don't need to stand there. He's going to do that forever, isn't he? Buddy, you can chill. Let's go in there. I'm going to turn off the APU, turn off seatbelt signs, beacons, and taxi lights go off too. Oh, I want to go here for real now. I want to go and climb that one, which is another advantage of Nanga Parbat, not Nanga Parbat. To the south we have mountains, and they are 15,000, 16,000. Well, we don't have labels for the mountains. I'm sure that's something we can turn on. No. We can have high points turned on so we know how high the overall terrain is, but Nanga Parbat's over on the right hand side next to K2. Karmang, Madhupur, Kawari. And north of here you can see this valley here with the Shigar River. It's a very wide open one. So basically at Bireb, at flight level 215, you can sidestep into this valley and come down this way. And then basically you're making a approach here around over these hills and then back down for left hand downwind, or for just a curved approach to runway 32. What would runway 32 approach look like? Yeah, that would be doable too. It's about all doable. It's just about getting to the valley, getting to the airport at an appropriate altitude. I mean, there is loads of space in this valley to turn around once you're here. But yeah, there we go. What a wunderbar place to arrive.